Hi guys, Will here from WB Trading, and in today's video I'm going to do my absolute best to help you to stop strategy hopping for good. If you'd like to learn how, stay tuned and let's get into it. Hello guys, Will here from WB Trading and welcome back. So as always, if you are new to the channel, please do take just a quick second to hit the subscribe button and tap the bell icon so that you don't miss any of the free content that I share with the trading community here on YouTube. I know that I labour that point every time I do a video, but it really helps me, it really helps you guys as well, and then you will know every time I upload a video. Also, just really quickly before we dive in, I've just changed the office around today and I'm not too sure about how this microphone is going to sound. So if you wouldn't mind taking literally just a second to leave a really quick comment below the video, just let me know how the microphone sounds. Is it too loud? Is it too quiet? Yeah, just let me know how it sounds and hopefully it's okay. Anyway, so let's get into it. What is strategy hopping? So strategy hopping, it's the process of learning a strategy, trading it for let's say 1 or 2 months, probably without a full and proper understanding of how it actually works, maybe even starting to trade it in the midst of a losing run or a losing period, or perhaps even making some money but not much, and then throwing in the towel, deciding it doesn't work, putting down the tools, and then looking for another strategy and just repeat and repeat. And some traders go around in this loop, this vicious cycle for months and years, some even forever even, and then they decide that trading isn't for them and they quit altogether, which is a real shame. Now, one thing I can tell you is that actually most strategies do work, even the ones that supposedly don't, and I'll explain how exactly even a losing strategy does in fact work in just a second. But before we get to that, on the topic of most strategies working, the problem is how they work. So you have to understand how a strategy actually works if you're going to trade it, and in most cases the how is based on probabilities, the cold hard numbers in terms of win rates and average win versus average loss. Fundamentally, it always comes down to edge. So let's look at an example, okay, and I'll try and keep this nice and basic. So let's say you're trading a momentum strategy, similar to my D1 swing strategy, okay, where winning trades are completely uncapped and losses are capped at -1R or less. But the win rate is very low, down at roughly between 20% and 30%. That tends to be the average for, you know, a momentum strategy, a trend-based strategy. And just as a side note here, the average loss via the D1 swing strategy is roughly 0.7, 0.8 R or so. Now, most of the time, you're going to take a small loss at, again, an average loss of around 0.8 R. And this is, again, it's going to be roughly 70% of the time. So yes, you're going to lose money frequently. And that sentence for many traders will scare them. If I said to you, without explaining anything about the strategy other than you're going to lose money frequently, you'd probably say, well, sod that. I'm not touching that strategy, right? And you'd run in the complete opposite direction. And that is where the vast majority of traders actually get this entire career wrong. They have no idea about probabilities, and that right there is all that this career is. All we do as traders is exploit probabilities when we know that they'll eventually fall in our favour. It's critical to understand, because although I said you're going to lose money frequently, I didn't say that you'd only lose small, whereas when you win, you'll either win small or you'll win extremely large. And that right there is the difference. And in fact, I'm actually in a trade at the moment that's a great example of this in action. So I'm currently long Ethereum via the D1 swing strategy applied to a H1 chart. I'll show you the trade. You can see I entered here where the white dot is, with the stop loss down here below the low. I'm currently up just below 7R last time I checked. And this is a real, genuine, live example of the only 3 types of trade that a strategy that provides edge will ever bring. So small losses, small wins, and extremely large wins. And yes, a lot of the time is spent just going one step forwards, one step back, one and a half step forwards, one step back again. That's trading. None of us make money every single day, every single week, every single month, every single quarter. And anybody who says that they do is more certainly lying to you. But coming back to this current Ethereum long trade, if I close this trade out as is right now, I'd be banking a win that's roughly 8.7 times larger than my average loss. And to calculate that, I've taken the current 7R of open profit and I've divided that by my average loss, which is, again, minus 0.8R. So that means you could have lost the last 8 trades in a row and you'd still be profitable right now with just the one win. 1 out of 8 trades. Again, what we're seeing here is Hedge playing out in real time. But again, I just want to remind you of 2 things. The win rate that's down at a pretty low 20 to 30% or so, and the fact that, again, this strategy loses money frequently. If that scares you, especially now that you know that winning trades are absolutely uncapped, then I think it's fair to say you don't quite understand Hedge yet. You don't quite understand probabilities yet, because if you did, you'd know that at times all it takes is one large win to completely wipe out an entire series of those small frequent losses and push you right ahead, right into profitable territory. Again, as we're seeing here in real time via the current Ethereum long. So fundamentally, for a strategy to work, all that's required is for wins to outsize losses in line with the strategy's win rate. Okay, and if you have a strategy that does offer the ability to capture those 5R wins, those 10R trades, those 15R trades when they come along, you're positioning yourself to succeed as a trader over the long term. The hard part, as we all know, is managing risk whilst they actually come around. And this is another point I just want to add in here very quickly. Look, trading is hard enough without over-risking and wiping out your mental capital, really. If you over-risk, or worse, you trade with money you're really scared of losing, you've lost before you've ever placed a trade, because there's going to be so much pressure on you to perform. You're going to be worried, you're going to be stressed, you're going to want to snatch your open profits and so on. It's just not going to be pleasant, and that's not how professional traders trade. Yes, stress is a very real part of this job, believe you me, but if losing money is going to cause serious damage to your life, you should absolutely not be trading. You shouldn't be risking it, in my opinion, that is. There is a reason why they say only trade with money that you can afford to lose, and it's because when you do that, when you set some money aside to trade with the full understanding that you might lose it, you're then able to trade extremely, extremely well because of this, because you've already set that money aside, you've already parted with it. So that means you'll follow your strategy rules to a T, you'll execute well through losing periods and so on, because you're not scared of losing that money, if that makes sense. In the majority of cases, only people who are either trading scared or trading with money they're extremely attached to, or who perhaps don't fully understand how the strategy works, they're the ones that tend to break their rules and tend to self-sabotage and exit early and throw in the towel and so on, because again, they haven't really prepared themselves to take, let's say, 100 trades, 200 trades. They haven't prepared themselves to have 5 losses in a row, 10 losses in a row in a worst case scenario, maybe more. And again, when those tricky circumstances do come around, as they inevitably do, it really, really weighs heavy on them, because again, they haven't prepared for it. So let me share a tip on how you can completely overcome that scared mentality and execute extremely well long term. I've said this many times in the past, and it's actually my pinned tweet on Twitter as well, and it's this: trade so small that you don't care whether you win or lose. I know that sounds stupid, but trade so small that you can take 10, 15 losses in a row in a worst case scenario, and it doesn't upset you, it doesn't put you off, it doesn't throw you, because again, you've prepared for it, and you're trading with money that you can in a worst case scenario lose. So it's not gonna affect you, because you've already planned for this. You've agreed with yourself that you're going to execute well long term. And yes, of course, it'll challenge you, absolutely, but it won't scare you, and it won't cause any major damage either. that is how you position yourself for long-term success. And it's how you stay around for when that next 10-hour win or that next 15-hour win comes around and pushes your account right ahead and right into the green. And believe me, they always come around in the end. Again, a lot of the time, trading is unfortunately a slow grind. That's the reality of it. You know, if anybody's watching this and they're new to trading and they think that we, you know, pull hundreds of pounds out of the market every single day, every week, every month, that's not the case. A lot of the time, it's one step forwards, half a step back, half a step forwards, one step back, until that next solid trade or that solid winning run comes around and then pushes you way ahead, right into profitability. And it's just a case of repeating that, and again, trading with Hedge. Now, before I leave you and before I conclude, I also said that I'd touch on how a losing strategy does in fact work. And I think this is actually going to surprise a lot of traders, but think about this for a second, okay? Let's say you learn a strategy, and as a really extreme example, almost every trade is a loss, okay? You take 200 trades, you're certain that the strategy doesn't work, and that's confirmed by a loss in your account too. Now, a lot of traders will probably be upset, they'd be annoyed, right? And what they haven't realized is that every time that strategy triggers a trade, if you put your stop loss where the target is supposed to go, and you put your target where the stop loss is supposed to go, you've now instantly turned a losing strategy into a winning strategy. And that's what's often called fading, i.e. doing the opposite. So if you're ever lucky enough to find a strategy that consistently doesn't work, that consistently loses money, or even if you find a trader who consistently loses money and happens to share their trades, well, congratulations. Congratulations, you're now consistently profitable by either fading the strategy or by fading the trader in question. And that is how a losing strategy does in fact work. But just as a side note, make sure that the strategy doesn't work, because you do not want to be fading a strategy with Hedge. That's for sure. So to conclude, the main 2 points are: if you truly understand how your strategy works in terms of win rate and average win versus average loss, along with keeping risk so small and manageable that you're sure that you can carry on executing well over the long term, and I'm talking 3 months, 6 months, 12 months here, you're almost certainly going to win. You're almost certainly going to come out ahead as a profitable trader. Now, is it easy? Well, no, but if you combine those 2 points, it's a hell of a lot easier, that I can say. And with those 2 points combined, it should be enough to put an end to any strategy hopping altogether. Anyway, I hope that helps. I hope that's triggered some inspiration. Hopefully it's added some value for you. I'll leave it there for today. And as always, trade with Hedge, with consistency, and I look forward to having you back here on the channel soon. Thanks everyone.